When Maria went into labor prematurely, no one knew if her baby, so small and fragile, would survive the night. But what she and the doctors couldn't foresee was that this would be just the first battle in a war that would change their lives forever. Maria had always dreamed of becoming a mother, but when she went into labor far too early, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. The hospital room was a whirlwind of chaos as doctors and nurses rushed around her, their voices a blur of medical jargon. She could feel her heart pounding in her chest as she tried to grasp the reality of what was happening. Her mind raced with worry. Would her baby survive? Would she ever hold her little one in her arms? The uncertainty was unbearable. Every time a doctor glanced at her with a serious expression, dread washed over her like a cold wave. She wanted to scream, to beg for answers, but all she could do was lie there, terrified. Just as Maria felt herself slipping into despair, a kind nurse appeared by her side. "You're doing great, Maria," she said softly, gently squeezing her hand. "We're going to take good care of you and your baby. Just focus on breathing." With the nurse's encouragement, Maria found a flicker of hope. She imagined the moment she would finally hold her baby, feeling that tiny heartbeat against her chest. But soon, those thoughts were interrupted by a sudden shift in the atmosphere. The doctors were moving swiftly now, urgency filling the room. "Prepare for delivery," she heard someone shout, and panic surged through her. Maria's heart raced as she realized that her baby was about to enter the world, and that world was a scary place for such a tiny, fragile life. With one final push, everything changed. The room filled with the sound of a newborn's cries, and relief washed over Maria like a warm blanket. But that relief quickly turned to anxiety when she saw the tiny figure being rushed away, surrounded by doctors. Her baby was born, but the battle was just beginning. As the medical team worked to stabilize her newborn, Maria's mind spun with questions. What would happen next? Would her baby be okay? She wanted to shout, to demand updates, but all she could do was watch helplessly as they wheeled her baby away. In that moment, she felt utterly alone, grappling with a fear she had never known. Yet deep down, a small voice whispered that she had to stay strong. For her baby. For herself. And so, she held on to that hope, determined to fight alongside her child, no matter the odds. As the hours turned into days, Maria found herself in a surreal limbo. She was stuck in a hospital room, filled with the beeping of machines and the smell of antiseptic, waiting for news about her baby. Every moment felt like an eternity. The nurses were kind, checking in on her, but nothing could ease the knot of anxiety tightening in her chest. She spent countless hours beside the incubator, gazing at her tiny baby, who seemed so fragile and small. The sight was both beautiful and heartbreaking. Wrapped in wires and tubes, the baby fought for every breath, and Maria couldn't help but feel helpless. "I wish I could take your place," she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. It broke her heart to see her little one struggling. Each time a doctor entered the room, Maria held her breath, hoping for good news. One day, the neonatologist sat down beside her, his expression serious yet compassionate. "Your baby is stable, but we need to take this one day at a time," he explained gently. Maria nodded, though she felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. After the doctor left, Maria closed her eyes and let the tears fall. She thought about all the hopes and dreams she had for her child. Would they ever play together? Would she be able to watch her baby grow? The fear of losing those dreams felt suffocating. But then, a small miracle happened. As she sat there, a nurse approached with a gentle smile. "You can touch your baby now, if you'd like," she said softly. Maria's heart raced at the thought. She had longed for this moment. Carefully, the nurse guided her, showing her how to reach through the incubator and touch her baby's tiny hand. The instant their skin connected, something incredible happened. Maria felt warmth and love surge through her. In that moment, she understood that she wasn't just a bystander, she was a part of her baby's fight. She whispered words of encouragement, telling her baby how strong and loved they were. That connection sparked a flame of hope within her. Maria realized she couldn't give up now. She had to stay strong, not only for herself but for her little warrior fighting against the odds. And so, day by day, she returned to the incubator, bringing with her a heart full of hope and a spirit ready to fight. As the days turned into weeks, Maria found herself adjusting to the new normal of her life in the hospital. Every morning, she woke up with one thought on her mind: how was her baby doing today? The incubator became her sanctuary, a place where she could connect with her little one, even if it meant only through glass. The doctors and nurses became like family to her, each one offering small bits of encouragement that kept her going. One nurse, in particular, took the time to teach Maria about all the machines and wires connected to her baby. "This is the CPAP," she explained one day, pointing to the device helping with the baby's breathing. "It's doing a great job. Your baby is getting stronger every day." With each visit, Maria began to understand more about her baby's condition. She learned about the struggles premature infants faced and the incredible resilience they showed. Each tiny improvement filled her with hope. When her baby moved a little more, or when the doctors adjusted the settings on the machines, she felt a surge of joy. But with that joy also came fear. What if something went wrong? What if her baby struggled again? Maria often found herself fighting against those dark thoughts. One evening, as she sat quietly beside the incubator, she felt a wave of sadness wash over her. She closed her eyes, overwhelmed, wishing for her life to be different. Just then, she heard a soft voice. "It's okay to feel this way," the nurse said gently, noticing Maria's distress. "You're going through a lot. But remember, it's okay to lean on us." The nurse's kindness wrapped around Maria like a warm blanket, reminding her that she wasn't alone in this fight. From that moment on, Maria started to share her feelings more openly. She talked about her fears, her hopes, and the dreams she had for her baby. And with each conversation, she found a little more strength. The support from the medical team and the love from her family helped lift her spirits. In one particularly touching moment, Maria was allowed to hold her baby for the first time. With shaking hands, she cradled her fragile child against her chest. The connection was overwhelming, her heart swelled with love, and she felt a sense of peace wash over her. In that moment, she knew that they were both fighters, and they would get through this together. Maria realized that the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but she was ready to face it. With each passing day, she grew stronger, determined to be the mother her baby needed. And as she looked down at her little one, she felt a sense of purpose ignite within her. They were in this together, and no matter how tough the journey became, they would keep fighting for each other. As the weeks passed, Maria's connection with her baby deepened, and she felt more determined than ever to be there every step of the way. She learned the routines of the NICU, from the daily checkups to the feeding schedules. Every little moment felt significant, and each visit became a cherished part of her day. One afternoon, Maria sat next to the incubator, watching as the nurses carefully adjusted the settings for her baby's care. She marveled at the team of medical professionals who seemed to work in perfect harmony, each one playing a crucial role in her child's journey. It takes a village, she thought, feeling grateful for their dedication. The neonatologist had become a familiar face, stopping by regularly to share updates. "Your baby is making great progress," he said one day, smiling as he reviewed the charts. "We're reducing the oxygen support, which is a good sign." Maria's heart soared at the news. Small victories like this gave her hope and strength. But despite the positive updates, Maria also faced her fair share of challenges. There were days when the weight of uncertainty felt heavier than ever. One evening, as she left the hospital, she overheard a couple talking about their baby's progress, and jealousy bubbled up inside her. Why wasn't her journey as smooth? She fought back tears as she walked to her car, feeling overwhelmed. That night, Maria sat alone in her small apartment, staring at the empty nursery she had prepared for her baby. It was supposed to be filled with laughter and joy, but instead, it felt like a haunting reminder of everything she was missing. Just then, her phone buzzed, a text from a friend. "Thinking of you and your little warrior. You're doing amazing." Reading those words warmed her heart and reminded her that she wasn't alone. With renewed determination, Maria decided to focus on what she could control. She began writing letters to her baby, pouring out her thoughts and hopes for the future. "You are so strong," she wrote. "I believe in you." The next day at the NICU, Maria shared her letters with the nurses, who encouraged her to read them aloud to her baby during their skin-to-skin sessions. The first time she did, she felt a surge of love. As she spoke, her baby seemed to respond, tiny fingers wrapping around her hand. It was as if they understood each other in that moment, bridging the gap between their worlds. As the days turned into weeks, Maria watched her baby gain strength. Each time they had skin-to-skin contact, it felt like a small miracle. The bond they were building was unbreakable. Maria realized that this journey was not just about survival, it was about love, connection, and hope. With the unwavering support of the medical team and the strength of her love, Maria felt ready to face whatever came next. They had fought through so much together, and she was more determined than ever to bring her baby home. The road ahead was still uncertain, but she knew they would conquer it side by side. The day finally arrived when Maria received the news she had been waiting for. The doctors believed her baby was ready to come home. As she sat in the NICU, her heart raced with a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Is this really happening?" she thought, hardly able to believe the moment was finally here. The staff buzzed around her, preparing the paperwork and making sure everything was ready for the big transition. Each time a nurse smiled and reassured her, Maria felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. They had been her lifeline throughout this journey, and now, they were helping her take the final step into motherhood. As she dressed her baby in a tiny onesie, carefully selected and packed away weeks before, Maria felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. This was it. They had fought so hard to reach this moment, and now her little one would finally be coming home. She gently lifted her baby into her arms, feeling the warmth and weight that she had longed for. It was surreal, and she was filled with overwhelming love. When they walked out of the hospital, Maria couldn't help but glance back at the NICU. It felt like leaving a chapter behind, one filled with challenges, fears, and triumphs. "Thank you for everything," she whispered, knowing that the team had given her and her baby the chance for a brighter future. Once in the car, Maria secured her baby in the car seat, her heart fluttering with excitement. She couldn't stop smiling as they drove through the familiar streets, now filled with new meaning. Every corner held memories of hope, of late-night worries, and of the love that had grown so strong during their time in the NICU. Arriving home, Maria felt a mix of emotions flooding her heart. The nursery she had prepared with so much love now felt alive. As she laid her baby down in the crib, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. This was their safe haven, a place where dreams would be nurtured and laughter would echo. The first few nights were a whirlwind of emotions, from the joy of watching her baby sleep peacefully to the challenges of late-night feedings and diaper changes. But even during those sleepless nights, Maria found herself filled with gratitude. Every coo and little stretch of her baby's arms reminded her of how far they had come. And with each passing day, Maria became more confident as a mother. She created a new routine, filled with love and cuddles, ensuring that her baby felt safe and cherished. The memories of the hospital faded, replaced by the warmth of home and the joy of new beginnings. Looking down at her baby, she realized that this journey had not only strengthened her child but had transformed her as well. Maria had discovered the depths of her resilience, the power of love, and the importance of community. She knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, just like they had in the NICU. With a heart full of hope, Maria smiled at her baby. "We made it," she whispered, knowing that this was just the beginning of their beautiful story together.